So we've had a lot of questions sent in. We've had a lot of questions sent in about we've had questions sent in about the land buying process. And the first question that came in was from Jen, and that is, how and where did you find the land to buy? And what websites did you use?
So, in the end, we found it on a commercial forestry agent's website. But that was purely because we were going more and more off the wall, just trying to find somewhere. So we spent years looking through all of the websites.
How many years?
I guess 3 was the latest stint of things.
I'm just going to check it's running.
So we basically were both looking a long time ago, before each of us met.
Years ago.
But yeah, we spent all that time whilst doing that, whenever there was some spare time every week, following land prices and what was going on, what was for sale, and yeah, so the different types, and following auctions, and depending on our mental states, my mental states, I was going to look at land and speak to estate agents and everything to keep the dream alive, keep
the motivation and
keep
hope.
the motivation and keep the hope. But then in other mental states, I stopped looking, both through exasperation, or I found quite a few places that were perfect,
But we weren't ready.
But it wasn't ready yet. But we were looking for a good 3 years, solidly.
And where were you looking?
Yeah, so Rightmove, UK Land and Farms, other websites that have all of the estate agents' properties on together, but then also looking at the individual estate agents' websites, auctions, and just following them and the prices and trying to. It's quite an art, because what they price things at is never actually it.
So you would see an ideal property, like that one we went to see down near Bridport. It was like 4 acres, had like a little dilapidated barn, had polytunnels. It was like a set up small holding. And what did they have it? It was for auction coming up, and they had it at what price?
I think it was 90.
So it was 90,000
up to 120, which wasn't actually a bad one.
And then
sometimes they double in price.
And it's not just the fact that you get your hopes up. Josh goes and views it. I take time off. I go view it, and then we drive like 3 hours to go to the auction, and then it's like starting the bid at way above what they've advertised, and it was just exhausting, like time and time again, and we ended up stopping going to auctions because of that. And what we were actually looking for on these different sites was a barn to work in with a few acres for small holding practices, so chickens, allotment, somewhere to put hazel. So that was the ideal property.
So a lot of the ones we were finding along those lines were farms that were being split up and sold off for various reasons. We wouldn't know the reasons.
Properties would be split up, and we would be wanting to actually work in the barn. Plus the barns were wrecked, weren't they?
Mostly just wrecked.
Every single property that we found with a barn on a few acres was absolutely wrecked. I don't even know how they were still standing. That one you went to see with the asbestos.
Yeah, just
But
hanging on.
if it's got a barn on it, it automatically has planning to
Class Q.
Class Q permitted development.
Put through to ours, so it doesn't matter how bad the barn is, to be honest.
It could be one stick standing, and it still would count for the planners.
Which is also why we're sort of been inflates the price of that specific type of property that we were after, for people wanting a barn conversion house in the countryside.
It's called Class Q permitted development, and if there is a barn that has been there for 10 years or more, you can put in for a very easy planning permission to convert it into a house. And of course, loads of people have been doing that because it's easy planning, and it's usually a house by itself in the middle of the countryside. So that's why
had quite a few people asking us
if that's our aim.
Yeah, so the plan is because
it's not.
they're overly priced, we've gone off trying to look for a barn with a few acres, sort of 5 or less. And for the same price, you can get what we have bought, which is a much bigger acreage of woodland, but also farmland with a clearing, and gets you over the 12.5 acres.
12.5 acres is the size of the plot that you need to be able to have access to the government's permitted development. So if you have a property that's smaller than that, you don't have the same rights as somebody that has 12.5 acres or more. You have what's called permitted development rights, and that's a variety of different planning that you can put in for a much easier process.
Yeah,
And so that's kind of what we ended up going with, because it was cheaper, which seems crazy. Like, we didn't want this much land at all.
No.
But that's the way we went, because we were looking at these dilapidated barns with a few acres, and it was almost 3 times the price of just buying a large property with nothing on. So our tick list involved a few acres, barn, water, and electricity would have been amazing. So we've gone for a property with none of those things. None of them.
Which we didn't think that we would, but we've gone for possibilities. So it's important to say that each property will never have everything.
Never have everything.
So you have a tick list in your head of all the different bits that you want or would be great. And then it was always a way up of hitting about half of them most of the time, and then it was all about the possibility of being able to do the rest. So we've actually ended up going with a property with not much on that tick list at all, like no water.
There's no water, no electricity.
No electricity.
There's not even a possibility of having
No
electricity
buildings.
or water,
Mains wise.
mains electricity or mains water put on.
Yeah.
There's no property, there's no buildings on there or any planning permission.
No.
It's just
so
a big ass bit of land with trees on it.
very much starting a farm from scratch.
Yeah, farm from scratch.
Um,
But yeah, so we found this piece of land, or Josh found this piece of land on a forestry, what was it?
Commercial forestry.
Commercial
so this
forestry.
is one of the smallest sizes they did. Usually you're talking sort of 200 acres or more. So this was one of their smallest ones.
Should we share how big it is?
Yeah, there's no harm in that.
So it's
I can't remember. It's 26 or
20, 26 acres, which is...
Sounds mad to us.
It is crazy.
Yeah. But predominantly woodland as well, which is
Yeah.
cool, because that's slightly different than what we were thinking as well anyway. But that has been something that I've wanted to be responsible for going forwards, managing a woodland and making it as beautiful, productive, but then also with a conservation mind on as well. together at the same time. So that was not on the tick list, but
It
we're
is
happy
now.
for it to be.
It's on the tick list now. What else
You
is on
talk
your
about,
notes?
obviously, price for where you are comes into it. Did we
Yeah,
talk
so
about that?
ideally, Josh wanted to stay in Dorset.
No, not Dorset, just the southwest. So on Rightmove, you can set your location as southwest, which is basically Gloucestershire down. But at the same time, again, with the mental states, some of the times when we got so exasperated with this country, we're looking at France, Bulgaria, Denmark, Scotland, Wales,
Italy.
and you can get a lot more for your money, obviously, elsewhere. But
Brexit.
we're a little bit, or I certainly am, allergic to bureaucracy. So, and especially with the language barrier, trying to understand bureaucracy, is why I've sort of really did want to stay southwest-wise. And we've just been ready to press send as soon as it got serious.
I think we have gone way off of the question of how
Yeah.
did we find land.
Yeah. Should we stop there?
Yeah. Nailed it.
Yeah.
So I think, in short, how did we find land? Years of looking, a lot of fall throughs, all of the websites that you've heard of, like Rightmove, what was that farm one called?
UK Land and Farm.
UK Land and Farm, individual estate agent. Josh did a lot of trawling for about 3 years. A lot of trawling. Looking at pin boards in agricultural shops and trying not to get too disheartened at the auctions, and when perfect pieces of land came up and then fell through before we had the opportunity to get there. That happened a couple of times. Yeah. Oh, that one that was on that A road. That was so nice. Do you have any final points for this video?
Just that it's important to go and see these properties thinking off the wall.
What do you mean
So-
by off the wall? I don't
so-
understand what you mean by off the wall.
I didn't want to be corny, but like looking at potential. So the things that aren't there, think about just what could be done. So if it doesn't have parts of your tick list, really think about how hard it would be or not.
Positive, keeping optimistic.
Keeping optimistic, and just that it is possible without a massive amount of money and savings behind you. It takes more time than you would want and you think and you're prepared for.
How do we know it's possible though? We haven't even started yet.
No, we've
It's
done
not
it.
even.
We've
We
done
haven't
this
got the keys yet.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We've done this bit. And that's the keeping me positive. Hopeful.
Josh is painfully optimistic. I am surprisingly pessimistic. So bear that in mind.